Welcome to our new podcast episode. We're very happy to have you here. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about yourself, Roshiko. Could you give us a brief introduction of what you do and how you found Alia?
Sure. Hi. Thank you for having me. My name is Roshiko Shindo. I call myself a Japoreña because I'm half Japanese, half Honduran, but I've been living in Guatemala for almost 15 years. And that's it.
How did you find Alia at first? How did you get into remote life? Is this your first job remotely, or have you done that before?
Well, I used to work in a company that due to the pandemic, we had to work remotely for a few months, obviously. But this is like my first remote job because when I first applied to this job opportunity, I didn't understand how being here in Guatemala, I was going to be able to support a company in the United States that is a CPG company, and I didn't know exactly how I was going to support it. So it was a little bit, I had to work through the ideas a little bit, but in the end, it's been the best decision, and I've been in the company for almost 5 years now. So it's
That's
been
great to hear.
great.
I imagine you have many stories you're going to tell us later on as well. I wanted to ask you initially, you were recently highlighted by your team. What do you think that they see in you that makes you stand out?
Well, I'm very grateful for this recognition. Obviously, it takes a team to move things forward, honestly. And I think what my team might appreciate is maybe my consistency and somehow my willingness to help out and support the team as much as I can. Because as I mentioned, I mean, I'm the only person here in Guatemala, but we have a lot of people working in the United States that form the team, and to me, it's really motivating to try to support the team as best as I can, doing whatever it takes in order to move the team forward.
Definitely. And focusing a little bit back on the remote area, well, what is one thing that you think people underestimate or a bad stereotype you think people have on remote workers?
Well, I think one of the things that the people most underestimate, I think, is the time people that have to go to a physical workplace take time commuting. I mean, here in Guatemala, traffic is completely crazy. People sometimes wake up at 4 so they could leave at 5 and they take like a quick nap before they start working. I mean, traffic is crazy here. So the non-commuting is super helpful and it saves you so much time and energy instead of being fighting with everybody in traffic, right? And also, I think fewer interruptions. I think you're able to focus a little bit more. I know I occasionally get the occasional dog bark and the occasional doorbell, but other than that, I'm pretty focused in general. I'm able to concentrate and do my job, and I think uh, earphones nowadays are super helpful. I mean, they can neutralize whatever kind of noise and you can really focus in what you're doing. I think also we have a better work personal life balance, I think, because you're able to be a little bit more present in your family members or your friends' life and still have time to focus on what you need to do professionally as well.
Do you think that this remote work specifically has made you stronger professionally? Like, has it been more challenging in a certain way?
I think it's made me more professional because I think that everything that I do relies on me specifically, and I can't blame anybody else around that's to do my job. So I think it's taken me like to have a little bit more self-discipline and better time management. Um, I think I've been able to work a little bit better in terms of my communication. I mean, it's something that a virtue I think that Latin American people have is that sometimes we embellish everything that we say or embellishing everything that we write. The emails, we have like this half an hour intro before we say what we need to say. It's something
Yeah.
cultural, obviously. But I think that since I've been working mainly with an American company, it's given me like time to, okay, I need to focus on these key points, and this is what I need to communicate in my email, just so I don't over communicate or confuse everybody with whatever I'm trying to say.
I completely understand. It has happened to me that I think getting to work with different cultures, specifically remote, you have to learn that for our culture, it's normal to have an hour-long video call to explain just one
Yeah,
term. But with them, it's like you have to be direct, you have to be fast and just concise, straight to the point. So I completely get that.
exactly. I mean,
If you had
it's taken a little bit more of I've had to have to restrain myself a little bit because the Latin American part just sometimes tries to kick in, but I try to cut it up as best as I can just so I can focus on what I need to say as fast as I can.
if you had to explain your job and what you do to somebody that has no idea of your field, how would you explain it to them?
Well, I'm currently an account manager for Prairie Green Mountain in the United States. I'm the account manager that handles distributors in the United States. I mainly try to maintain certain communication, have a grasp on inventory of the products that are being handled, sales information, product management for each of these CADs and the distributors. And I've been doing that for 5 years. And it's been quite a trip because it's been interesting not being able to physically be there, but trying to handle everything from where I am.
And remotely, like with dealing with clients, how have you managed to build trust with them remotely?
I think that I think you have to be very consistent and try to be as reliable as possible. As if you say you're going to do something, do it and do it on time when you say you're going to do it. And also try to communicate proactively, not over communicate. Obviously, you have to communicate whatever wins you have. You have to check in and try to give her updates that you need to do, but without over communicating, but try to communicate as proactively as you can. Try to build some kind of a personal connection. I mean, working remotely, you're not going to be able to physically interact with those people as much as you want to. I've had the chance to do it, but it's very difficult to have like a very profound relationship with somebody that works like a few hours away from you, and just try to check in just to make sure that what they're doing, how their life is doing, if their family's okay, and try to keep that communication open. And also, I think just trying to be on the most honest and accountable as you can, because if you take on a task that you're not going to be able to complete in this time that you said you're going to do it, try to be open and say, look, this is taking a little bit more time. Try to be open and not have try to be as credible as you want and take accountability of what you're doing.
Definitely. I think specifically the last one you were mentioning, if you know you're going to be delayed and you're not going to be able to comply with whatever you needed to do at that time, it's better if you start saying it sooner rather than later. At least you can
Exactly.
already give them the expectations and they're aware of what's going on rather than last minute just let them know like, hey, this is not going to be done.
Yeah, false expectations, I think it's terrible. So as long as you're honest and just trying to keep it as honest and be open, honest about all the challenges that you might face.
And talking a little bit about Alia Services, what made you trust Alia Services? Like when you first saw us offering the remote jobs.
Well, what drew me is that I was interested to see how they were interested in my professional experience and then how I would be taking part of this team they were building for this company. So I was taken aback, and they were really interested. They asked questions of my experience and how I was going to bring all that experience into this new team.
And so far, how would you say your experience has been going working through Alia Services?
Well, as I mentioned before, I mean, I think it's been amazing. I mean, I love working here and I love the concept of remote job. because I'm able to have flexibility during the day. Because if I'm not able to finish something and I need to go to a doctor's appointment or I need to do a quick errand, I'm able to do it and just reconnect in the end and catch up in whatever I need to do. And personally, I've had experiences that are super. I'm super grateful for Lalia because one of them is that my dad, he lived in Honduras. Well, he's Japanese and he was living in Honduras, and he was a widower and he was living all alone. And so eventually I had to bring him to Guatemala to live with us with my family and my husband. And I was able to take care of him somehow because he's an 80-year-old man and it was kind of hard to have him living out without me nearby. So I was able to take care of him. And I've also had the situation with my father-in-law. He hasn't been very well in terms of health. So he has seizures every now and then. And my mother-in-law was kind of complicated in taking care of him on her own. So I've been able to help out in that way. And I think it's, as I mentioned before, I think the best way is being present for anybody in your circle, your family, or your friends that needs you is a game changer for me.
Definitely. And talking about supporting and being there for others with your teammates, do you ever happen to have to do this support, or what do you do if someone remotely is having a hard day at work? Like, how do you show up there?
Well, I try to be as sympathetic as I can. I mean, I consider myself to be a supportive person, and I think I'm approachable. And I try to offer help whenever I think is needed. I always offer it just in case somebody does need help and maybe they raise their hand and accept that help. And I also try to be patient because you never know what struggles people are going through on their day-to-day basis, and maybe um, trying to be as nice or trying to be like helpful in a way that just to keep things going without adding too much pressure, just trying to be as nice as I can and as understanding as I can.
And what would you say is the most impactful piece of professional feedback that you've ever received?
I think maybe it would be like walk the talk. To me, walking the talk means if you're gonna say if you're gonna say that you're gonna do something, do it. Not just say you're gonna do it. You have to do it, and you have to make people see what and how much of an impact is what you're doing. Um, and I think that you have to be very like purpose. You have to have a lot of purpose in what you're doing. Not only as I mentioned before, maybe I'm rambling all over right now, but what I need to say is that you're gonna do something. Um, don't just say that you're gonna do it and prove to everybody what impact what you're doing is gonna have in the end and in the future.
Now, what feedback would you give professionally to somebody that wants to stand out, or they want to get new opportunities in the remote environment?
I would do maybe the same thing. I mean, walk the talk and try to be more proactive as you can. Don't wait for somebody to ask you to do something. Try to proactively think ahead and do what you need to, what you think was going to be helping in the end. Try to um, have a better grasp in the time management and self-discipline. I know it's kind of hard, but working remotely does help you do that in a very specific way. And I think that maybe what else? Maybe try to be engaged in the meetings that you're taking because you're not always, maybe there's a lot of meetings going on and maybe you're not paying full attention, and sometimes you need to pay attention. Sometimes they call you and you're not paying attention, that it calls you out. And try to follow through in everything that you do and try to be as reliable as you can in whatever you're doing.
I think what you mentioned about being proactive is very important, specifically in a remote environment, because you don't have your manager or your teammates constantly there pushing you to do something different or noticing that maybe you're available to help them out. So
Yeah,
when you're in the remote environment, you have to kind of like learn to always try to do more, even if that's not in your scope. You can always help others. You can always take in a little bit more than what you're doing. And at the same
exactly.
time, you're learning new skills. You're learning new ways of doing things. So it's kind of like a win-win situation there.
Yeah, I think what I've learned, at least in my experience, is that I consider myself to be very scrappy. If I don't know the answer to something, I run around all and ask everybody that might know something, and in the end, you do learn something in the end, and you learn how to do something. But you have to ask, and just so you can understand what you're trying to do.
Definitely. And to close off, I wanted to close off in kind of like a more fun way. I wanted to
Hmm.
ask you, do you have any fun experience or maybe an embarrassing experience working remotely?
Well, fortunately, it's not been like embarrassing, but um, at least I think it's a little quick tip maybe. I try to have like my makeup on just in case, because you never know if somebody's gonna wants to have a quick meeting and you have like a facial or your hair is all over the place. I mean, I try to look my best as much as I can. And I'm always talking to my dogs. I have two dogs and my mother-in-law's dog, and I'm constantly talking to them like they were my roommates. And maybe I look crazy sometimes, but that's what I usually do. They're my teammates here in at work, here at home.
And for our last question, what would you say is your confession of a remote life?
Well, I think um I've learned to have like a quick balance because I'm mostly alone all the time. So what I usually do is I go to a quick a coffee shop nearby and try to watch people in different environments because I consider myself, I'm not diagnosed or anything, but I consider myself to be like an ambivert.
Hmm.
And I think I'm pretty good in social situations. Well, I think I am, but I'm not sure if not everybody, I'm not sure if anybody thinks that, but I think I'm pretty good in social situations. But I also enjoy like my quiet time and my solitary time alone. So I think that going out a little bit out of your environment, because being between four walls may be hard for some people. I actually enjoy it. I don't mind. But sometimes it's good to go outside and see other people in other environments just to like to decompress or to have like be around in a new environment, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Have a little bit of socialization at least once a week, going out for a coffee.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Roshiko. I really enjoyed getting to learn more about you, and I'm pretty sure your teammates will also like getting to know more about you in this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for having me.